You've tuned in to the show that celebrates life and all that makes it special. Sports, music, you, and of course, a nice cold beer or a glass of your favorite wine. And now, today's story.
Hi, and welcome to Life, Sports, Music, and Beer, as we bring you part 2 of our conversation with Olympic baseball coach Jim Mansilla. If you haven't heard or seen part 1, we invite you to do that now. And now, here's part 2 of the Jim Mansilla story, my journey to the Olympics. Hey everyone, welcome to our show. And once again, we are here with the Jim Mansilla story. That's what we call it. The gentleman that is our guest today, he's just he's an incredible individual. I mean, we were talking before the show, and oh, by the way, I've got my co-host with me, Rick, who I don't know what the hell I would do without him. He keeps me in check.
And somebody has to.
We're talking about how people's stories can affect someone's life. There's so many people out there that never get a chance to tell their story, Jim. They die with their story inside of them. And every story has someone that'll listen. And your stories, you have story after story. Your life has been so incredible. Just so you'll know, Jim played professional baseball, has coached the Olympic baseball team for some years. What am I missing here, Jim?
We're on the World Classic also, the World Baseball Classic 2009 and 2013.
And for those of you that have never heard of Miami-Dade North College, I think it's one of the finest.
It's the biggest college in the United States.
Okay, and you're still work there for them. What do you do now?
I'm a professor.
You're a professor. What do you
Biology, Health, and Wellness Department. I teach first aid and Nautilus training.
Nautilus training. Okay, so you're still into that sports thing. That's been your life. And if you didn't listen to the first episode with Jim, you need to listen to that, because you'll find out how one little act, this one little tiny thing that he did, write a simple letter, by the way, that he had never written a letter before. Right, Jim? That one little letter changed his entire life. You were 18 when you wrote that letter.
I was 21 at the
21
time.
when he wrote the letter. And he's 71 now in his entire life. And the stories he's got and the people he's met and what he does is just an amazing story. To me, it's an honor. I've known Jim for over 40 years. He's married to my cousin. And believe it or not, in all these years, I heard, some stories here and there, but I never got into real depth. So Jim, I'm going to let you take over. Tell us what you're going to talk about. You were telling me a story about Mike Piazza. So if you're a baseball fan out there, you need to listen to some of these stories about these major league players or ex-players. It'll blow your mind. All right.
Miami-Dade College has had a few major league players.
Well, tell us about that.
Well, since I've been involved with, I played in '69 and I had 18 years in Italy, pretty much 50 years. I've been at Miami-Dade for like 40 of them, 38 years as a professor coach. I've seen a lot of players come and go, and we were compiling how many major leaguers. In the beginning, it said how many people signed professional baseball, and we had hundreds, literally hundreds, that had signed a contract to play. And I guess it was too much to count, because they broke it down and said, well, how many guys played in the big leagues? And the count was 99 at Miami-Dade, and number 1 was the University of Southern California at 101. So we're comprising a list as to who those 99 players are, and it's fun to hear some of the guys that you wouldn't think, and it's just incredible. Well, Mike Piazza was one player.
Okay, tell us about the Mike Piazza story that you told me a while ago. It's fascinating.
Mike Piazza is the MVP of the National League. He went to Miami-Dade. He's the most home runs hitting catcher of all time. He's hit the most career home runs. And Mike, being a Miami-Dade, we met at the University of Miami. I coached 1 year at the University of Miami, the only year that Mike Piazza played at the University of Miami. And he was a freshman. He didn't play very much. He had 16 at bats, and he wasn't happy not playing. He was a big hitter from Pennsylvania. And Frazier you wait your turn. You'll get a shot, but you got to wait your turn. They had a really good team. They went to the College World Series, but he didn't play.
Are they still a powerhouse?
Yeah, they are.
University of
They're
Maryland?
pretty good.
They're still pretty good.
Gino
Yeah.
Damari is the head coach, and they're good. They're good. But Frazier was special. He was a special guy, and working for Frazier was also another treat of being able to work with a guy that really knew the game. He lets you play it, but he had all these trick plays, and he worked meticulously at certain plays in certain situations. Incredible guy to be under and watch. But anyway, Mike Piazza played. He was a rookie, and he's a freshman, didn't play much. Like I said, 16 at bats. So I was going to Miami-Dade the next year. I already knew because I was making $400 a month at the University of Miami. I couldn't pay the bills. It cost me $360 just to go there and gas. So I go, I got to make a move. So Mike, we're talking with Mike, and we're speaking Italian. He's got a real Italian bloodline. He's real Italian.
He's Lasorda's grandson, right?
Yes, the Godfather. Everybody says that he was the Godfather for Mike, but it was actually the Godfather for Mike's brother Vince.
Okay.
So, and I didn't know. Everybody said it was the Godfather of Mike, but it's not true. Tommy Lasorda was the Godfather of his brother.
Yeah. Okay.
So he didn't play, and we're talking Italian. I said, listen, next year I'm going to Miami-Dade. I'm going to be an assistant coach at Miami-Dade. Why don't you come to Miami-Dade? Because he was thinking of transfer and he wanted to play. And he goes, damn, I'm going to do that. So he comes to Miami-Dade, and he plays the 1 year.
And what year he was?
That was
junior?
1987.
He was a junior when he came.
He came as a sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
Because he had played 1 year of eligibility at Miami. He went to Miami-Dade as a sophomore. Could only play 1 year at Miami-Dade, then he had to go somewhere else. Well, he transfers over. I'm supposed to be the coach. I already know I'm going to be the assistant coach. I go to Italy. Go back to Italy. I'm going to go grab all my belongings that I left over there and bring them back to Miami, because I bought a house in Miami. Me and Wendy are married, and I'm going to be back here. But I'm going to go to Italy. I got to clean up, get all my stuff. I go to Italy, and they make me an offer I couldn't refuse. It was like a Godfather movie.
Make you an offer you can't refuse.
I'm going to get my stuff. I got to get my stuff. I can't. No, I got to go back to America. I'm going to coach at Miami-Dade. Jim, how much can you make it for $50,000? You're going to give me $50,000 to coach? I go, I could do that.
You should.
So the year that I'm supposed to coach at Miami-Dade, Mike Piazza's at Miami-Dade. I don't go to Miami-Dade. I stay in Italy and coach the team from San Marino. I end up staying that year. I went to go get my stuff. I ended up getting another apartment, put all my stuff in that place, and I ended up.
So let me get this straight. Hold on. So you talk Piazza into coming to Miami-Dade
from Miami, and I left him there.
Yeah, he's such a whore. Jim is such a whore. It's just all about money. He's like, yeah, loyalties.
Yeah, hey, Rick, 50,000 back then. That's
I
a
know.
hell of a
Oh,
lot
trust
of
me,
money.
I know. When he told that story, when he was talking about the price difference earlier in the first episode, I was like, yeah, I probably would sell out too. I ain't gonna lie. I'd be like,
It doesn't take that much to make you.
no.
So, I don't even know. I forgot about this part, to tell you the truth, but Mike was there, but we kept in touch. I said, Mike, I'm going to Italy, so we became pretty good friends. I kept in touch with him. He signs with the Dodgers. They had a Cressy, one of the coaches, Cressy, turned him into a catcher because he played first base.
Yep.
Oh, he did. Okay.
And he could hit. You can tell at Miami when he took batting practice, he could hit.
Could hear it.
You could the sound of
Yep.
the ball off a metal bat
Yep.
was different. He was strong upper body, strong forearms.
Really long swing too.
Yeah.
Long
Oh,
swing.
But he wasn't a catcher. He never caught.
That
Never
I was,
caught.
I was just gonna say.
first base-
No offense, he was one of the worst defensive catchers I'd seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, but when you can hit, buddy, they'll find a
Exactly.
spot for you.
Oh,
There
we
you
talked
go.
about that. Yeah,
There
for
you go.
sure.
That's true.
For
The
sure.
Dodgers made it happen.
They
Yep.
made that shit happen, man.
You can hit. You can only play behind a
You
plate.
play anywhere.
Yeah.
man.
And he made himself a pretty good catcher.
I was gonna say he busted his butt. Yeah,
He
for
did.
somebody who did. Yeah.
I mean, All right, so getting to the story that you wanted me to get to.
Yeah, please.
Is that over the years, I went to go see him when they played, played in Miami. He was a Marlin at one time,
Yes,
I think,
I
for
remember.
one day.
I remember.
So went to go see him, went to New York and seeing him games. And so we had an opportunity to go. I'm coaching at Miami-Dade, and Miami-Dade were playing a tournament in Sicily. And they asked me, Jim, why don't you bring the college over to Italy playing this tournament? I go, that's a great idea. So I asked the college, I asked the head coach, Steve Hertz at the time, and asked him, hey, you want to go play a tournament in Italy against some teams from Europe? He says, yeah, but it's going to be expensive. And I said, well, you think Mike Piazza can help us out? And he goes, well, I don't know Mike Piazza. I said, I know him. So I call Mike, and he goes, what do you want to do? Yeah, there's a tournament in Sicily, and they invited us, and Miami-Dade wants to go. I wonder if you would help us out financially to help us go. He goes, sure. He goes, what do you need?
That's
In
awesome.
fact, I was so naive at the time. I didn't know how much it would even cost to bring 25 guys over to play. So he mentioned, how about 25,000? I think 25,000 org. I said, that's great. That would work. This is in 1980. Oh, is he with the Mets? Again, the year is foggy for me.
So in retrospect, knowing that he just said, yeah, I'll give you 25.
He says,
You
I'll
should
give you my agent's number. You call him, tell him where to send the check, but I'll call him and tell him you got 25 grand.
Don't you regret not having said, I don't know, 25?
100 be
Now I
nice.
do,
Yeah,
yeah.
right, 100.
If you asked me that now, I'd probably
Yeah,
would
probably
say,
would say,
no, we
yeah.
need 80.
So go ahead, tell what happened with the
So
money. 'cause
he
it's-
gives us a 25. The team's getting ready to go over. We got to get everybody passports and everything. And we got, the 25, believe it or not, would have been enough to get us over there back then.
Back then.
Just so happens that the war in Yugoslavia
Oh, yeah. That's
came
right.
up, and the college squashed the idea, said we can't send students and put them in harm's way and be around a
Yep.
war. And Italy's right across the Adriatic Sea. So we ended up not going. So I asked Mike, I called Mike back up and said, Mike, because of the war in Yugoslavia, we can't go. I want to give you, here's your money back. Where do I got to send it? He says, keep it. You guys keep it and think you can use it for the program, make an account and keep it. So I ended up becoming the business manager at the college in addition to being an assistant coach. So I made the account and earmarked it as Miami-Dade players going to Italy or Italian players coming to school at Miami-Dade.
So that was a condition.
That was the condition, the only way you can spend the money.
Okay.
And believe it or not, to this day, which is almost 30 years later, they still can't spend that 25 grand because
Wow.
they've never sent players to Italy and they've never had players come
Wow.
from Italy. So they've tried. There's been 3 head coaches since we actually got the money. Danny Price, Steve Hertz, and Adrian Morales have all tried to spend that money, but they can't because they want to put lights, they want to do something for the batting cages, porta potties, whatever they want to try to spend, they can't spend it. So the money's still there.
Hey, Rick, why don't you and I go to Italy?
Hey,
On
I'm
that
in.
25 grand.
I'm in.
Right?
I would love to. Yes.
Yeah, what the hell? I don't know anything about scouting, but who gives a shit? Anyway, I'm sorry.
So that was pretty cool that he would give us.
Is that in an interest-bearing account or no? Do you know?
Is that in a
In
special?
an in other words,
It's in the foundation account, which does get interest.
It does get
Does
interest. Okay,
interest.
there you
So
go.
at this point here, I'm not sure. I don't, I've been out of coaching now for 5 years, so I don't know really what.
but you're thinking about going to Italy.
I am now because that's what I'm doing now. I've retired from coaching. It's been 5 years since I've been out of baseball, but I still keep in touch with the people in Italy, and I run tournaments and bring a team from Italy to play in the United States, to play in Florida. In West Palm Beach, I know this guy, Mario Signorello, another Irish guy. And he has the World Comes to the Palm Beaches baseball tournament the end of October. It says this will be his 5th year this year. And I bring a team from Italy. So I got this idea that, I can't tell people enough how much being an Italian and playing in Italy, what those people did for me, that I want to give something back.
Yeah.
So the setup in Italy now for the Italian kids, for a young Italian player, is not a lot of playing time. They only play 3 games a week. They're pretty good players. So what I've devised is I'm bringing pretty much an all-star team of players that want to go, because they have to pay like $2,500 to come over for 10 days. They play in this tournament. Prior to the tournament, I have them showcase themselves to other 3 junior colleges that are interested in possibly giving them a scholarship if they're good enough to play.
Excuse me for a quick question. When you say showcase themselves, how does that work?
Well, we
It's like
play
clinic,
games
like
we bring this team, we play against Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade plays this team, and if they see anybody that they like, it's just, I've never gotten the really good players. But now this year right now is where I have access to national team players, young guys that are good enough to play in a junior college. So the plan is to bring them over here, 10 days, play in the tournament, play against junior colleges, let them see them play. And if they're good enough, they'll offer them a scholarship.
right.
That's the plan now.
It's awesome.
When do you
Hey,
see
do
that
you guys, I'm sorry, do you
Go ahead.
guys use that Astros Diamondbacks facility there in Palm?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, the
Bryce
year-
Bryce played an all-star there. It's beautiful. Loved it.
Beautiful complex.
Yes.
Very
Yeah.
It's shared by the Astros and the
Diamondbacks, yeah. Is it
no, I think
Diamondbacks,
it's
right?
Nationals.
Nationals, you're right. I apologize. Yeah. You'll love this, Ralph. We rolled up in there, and in the players' parking lot, there's a Lamborghini sitting in there. And I looked at Bryce. I said, "That's what you're shooting for, bro, right there."
All the big leaguers. What a beautiful facility.
It's a great complex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Amazing.
it's
That's
it's
a great
amazing.
Piazza story. Is he a well,
Believe it or not, Mike is living. He married one of the lifeguards in Baywatch. Remember the movie Baywatch?
No
Oh my
kidding.
gosh.
One of the 3, not Pamela Anderson. One of the
Yasmin
other
Bleeth?
2. He married one of the other ones. It has 2 girls and he's living right now in Italy full time. He sold his place in Brickell, and he's now living full time in Parma, Italy.
by the way,
Nice.
for you listeners and for you also, Rick, Brickell, when you say Brickell, you're talking about Brickell, right?
Brickell Avenue, yeah.
Brickell down here in Miami is a very ritzy place.
Oh, I
Okay,
believe
you
it.
got to
Yeah.
have money to live in Brickell.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
Real nice.
Yeah. So
He bought a soccer team.
he
Oh,
bought
that's
a soccer
sweet.
team,
That happened 2 or 3 years ago.
a
And,
pro soccer team, I would imagine.
A pro soccer team, but they have the big leagues, A2, A3, or they go at letters A, B, C, D. He bought a Series C soccer team, and he spent a lot of money on it, from what I understand.
He's part owner, or is he?
He was the owner.
the owner.
One owner, and he has since sold it. I think he had it for 2 years, and he took a pretty good hit with it. But
Yeah, he did take a hit. Yeah.
he's
That
got-
was AC Reggiana is what the name of the club.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it said his wife kind of bankrupted it. That's
Oh yeah.
yes.
Baywatch, baby.
Yes. I'm kind of reading this. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're really up to date on all this.
Well, I jumped on because I remember hearing about that. But yeah, the headline is Mike Piazza wife bankrupted an Italian soccer club.
Oh, so it might have been in her name.
It might have been, yeah. Details revealed on how Mike Piazza, the wife, bankrupted an Italian soccer club. I don't even know how, but yeah, their budget skyrocketed after Piazza took over, rising from around 500 to before he purchased the club to more than 6 million. They might have went after too many stars or overpaid some contracts a bit.
Yeah, they did mention that. Some of the people, I don't know where they were getting the information from, because he was a friend of mine, and now they're telling me that he lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So not sure how that worked
Well, the
out.
good thing is he had it to lose, I
Yeah,
mean,
he
for
sure
some of
did.
those guys, it is what it is. At least he got to run a major league team, or
Yeah.
soccer club. That's
He
cool.
is presently the head coach of the Italian national team, the team that the position
Oh.
that I had. He
Yeah.
is now the head coach of the Italian national team.
That is awesome. And
So two
again,
Miami-Dade guys,
like we were
Miami-Dade
talking
guys.
off camera, Jim, another catcher becomes a manager, right?
another catcher becomes a manager.
And Ralph, this is what I was telling Jim in the majors. You have about 11 that are former catchers, and the next closest position is outfielders with 5. There's a reason why catchers are managers, because believe it or not, Ralph, we're smart people.
Yeah, believe it or not.
All right, listen, let's move on to something else. No, you're right, because the catcher runs the field. He's the field
Pretty
judge.
much.
Got
There's
it.
no doubt.
Yep.
Look, Girardi.
Tons.
Yeah.
Brad Osmus, Sosha.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on. There's 11. I mean, there's
Yeah.
seriously 11.
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. Listen, just as a side note, this is why I don't want to get into, I'm a Yankees fan.
Well, you had one too, Joe Girardi. I mean,
Oh, Girardi, yeah, fantastic. And I think Posada someday could be that material.
Yep.
But the Yankees catcher now, what's your favorite team, Jim? Do you have a favorite team?
Their team is the Marlins. Marlins and Yankees.
Oh, the Marlins.
I'm,
Okay.
I'm pulling for Jeter, turn it
Yeah,
around.
yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah,
He's a guy that turns everything to gold. That guy.
Yeah,
that
he
guy's
does.
He's
He's got
incredible.
charisma. He's got it all. I think.
he's
You know,
got the
you're
it.
going to join us. We're going to do a series. Rick and I are going to do a series on if you had to start a professional, a major league baseball team or a basketball team or a hockey, whatever.
Who would your number one be?
Who would your
Yeah.
number one pick be at every position? That would be a great episode.
It would be.
You
It
know,
would
we can
be.
get into some heavy arguments on that. I'm sure we'll agree on a lot.
We'll agree on a lot, I
Anyway,
bet.
I was going to get into this Yankee catcher thing. The Yankees will never win again unless they change catchers. They'll never win with this guy, Sanchez at catcher. That's my point of view.
Mhm.
The guy's a dud. He's a
So he
dud.
can
Good
hit, but he
players.
can't play defense.
No, not only that, he doesn't hustle. He doesn't run. I can't
Mhm.
stand people, anyway. So Jim, let's move on from there. So that leads you to where now? So forget.
Well, we went to the Olympic Games a year after the Olympic Games. With the last episode, we were talking about how I actually got there and coached in the Olympics in '84, and the journey still kept going. We ended up going back and forth to Italy.
When you say
to-
we, is the same team?
the same team.
Same
The
team.
team that I wanted to bring didn't go to the Olympic Games, but they stayed together, and it was Club Italia. It was the young
Club
group.
Italia.
Right.
But we finally got to play in a meaningful tournament with just that group. And it was, we had gone back and forth from 1981 to 1985. Every year we stayed in Havana, Cuba for 1 month, and we did nothing but baseball. The Cubans they have dissected the game and they study the game. If you watch a Cuban baseball game, some of the things that I remember in actual coaching of it, they would say that if there's a ground ball to second base, everybody, all 9 players
Should be
would
in
move.
motion. Yep.
You see major league games where there's a ground ball to first, the left fielder didn't move a step, center
Mhm.
fielder didn't move a step. In Cuba, those guys literally move 20, 30 steps. Every ball that's hit on the field, whether it's at them or if it's somewhere on the other side of the field, they move. They tell you that every player has something to do when a ball's hit, even if you're off.
All right, let me ask you this though, based on that. Rick, you might want to chime in on this. See, here's my thought. And I'm going to give you my opinion, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. Or I'm so far off base. The reason they do that, because I don't see that in the major league level, like you said, they don't move.
They don't move.
This is where I have a problem with guaranteed contracts, these people that sign these contracts. In Cuba, I know enough to know about these Cuban players because I'm Cuban. My wife is Cuban. My entire family's Cuban. I deal with people that come from Cuba every day on a daily basis. These people, they get up every day and they're just thinking about surviving. It comes to my mind that if a guy, let's say a left fielder, they hit a ball to first base, the left fielder, if he doesn't move, if he doesn't do what he's told, he doesn't move into position. Dude, let me tell you something.
You get another left fielder.
Yeah.
Yeah. And his ass is grass.
Yep.
You see, right?
Oh yeah, there's no question.
Whereas here, left fielder, he doesn't give a shit. He's got a guaranteed contract. What does he have to hustle? That's am I that far off?
No, it's not. It's a whole different system down there.
It's survival. Over there, it's survival.
It is survival. And they get treated well. If they make that national team, they live a different lifestyle than 90% of the Cubans.
I was just going to say, flipping back to Jim's Olympic story about the Bulgarian wrestler, he probably saw people taking the Olympics totally different than the Americans were, because tell you what, like he said, you become a celebrity in some of these other countries and your families are taken care of, you're taken care of for a long time if you bring back a gold medal. And it doesn't matter what sport it is in, doesn't matter. That's survival for them. It is. It's totally different. And to go into Ralph's point, these American athletes anymore, especially in the major leagues, I don't even like my son watching it anymore, to be completely honest. I'll take him to college games. I'll take him to high school games. I don't like the majors anymore. They've entitled these guys so grossly. When's the last time, Jim, you saw a catcher run down and back up first base on a simple ground ball?
They take 3 steps and that's it, man.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, if I didn't do that with my coach, I'm running pole to poles the rest of the day. The day.
You're right.
I mean, he's a Hall of Fame Ohio coach.
Do
So
you think that's old school? Would you consider that old school? Or
I'd call it good baseball, and it's not being taught.
That's exactly right. It's a good point.
yeah. Let's take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be back very, very soon. Carry on the conversation.
There's always time to settle down with a good book, especially when they're by local writers. And with Sophie Publishing, the reading list is always dynamic. Whether it's children's tales, nonfiction, science fiction, war stories, or even memoirs, these eye-opening stories with fresh perspectives always offer uncensored fun and adventure for all ages. Visit our website, and within days, you will be caught in adventure, laughter, and lore worthy of discovery. Sophie Publishing Books, always great page-turners.
Okay, guys, we're back with Jim Mansilla. Now we're going to talk about baseball and Cuba. Great. Rick, I know you had a comment or a question.
Yeah. Just going into, I know Jim saw it firsthand. So what would you say is the motivating factor? Why were they so intense about their sports over there, especially baseball?
Well, it was obviously them and their families were taken care of, because at 12, 15 years old, they knew they had a talent to play baseball. So the kids would actually go away from their place where they lived, and they would practice baseball the whole day, and the family would live differently because of their son being involved with the national team. And I would say that that's probably the main reason, because it was pretty poor. When I was there, and when I saw it, I married a Cuban girl, and I almost thought about not marrying her because I wasn't really in tune with what was happening down there. We're a baseball team, and we're staying at one of the hotels that the Americans built, Havana Libre, right there on the coast.
What was the name of it again?
Havana Libre.
Havana Libre.
And
That's
built by the
free
American, all the
Havana.
standard
Yeah, the free
bathrooms,
Havana.
everything's American made. All the mafia used to go down there and have their
Mhm.
meetings back in the day,
Mhm.
pull their yachts up. Anyway, when we were there, we would be eating like kings. Again, the Italians had to eat, and we would stay in a hotel, and everything was like as much as you want, like fish, and just the flan was the most best flan I ever
what?
had. Flan.
Flan. Oh,
My God,
that's
it
where you
was-
put on the pounds, right? You know what flan is? You know what flan is?
No, I don't.
A
No,
flan
what is
a
it?
pudding.
Okay.
My wife makes an incredible flan. It's a pudding with
egg and
egg. And let me tell you something, Rick, for those of you that never tasted flan, Cuban flan, you taste that and you are hooked, dude. This is like a drug. It is. It's delicious.
What the hell are you, a pusher? You don't give me a taste. You're just trying to
That's a
hook me
dessert.
now.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
because I told Kyle, by the way, I told Kyle and I told you, somewhere now when this whole thing, pandemic is over, whatever this crap is that's out there, I'm going to get you and Kyle and your families down here to Miami.
Oh, it'd be a blast.
Yeah. Like 7 or 10 days. go fishing.
I've been
go
down there
eating.
once.
And I'll
to
tell
the
you what,
Orange
here's
Bowl.
the danger to this. Here's the danger to this, Rick. You come
Mhm.
down here, a few things. Number one, when you taste this Cuban food every day, you're not going to want to go back and eat that shit that you eat over there. That's number one. Number two, when you come over here and you go to the beach and you see these Cuban women.
Oh, trust me, I know.
I don't know, baby. You know what I'm talking about?
I know. I
And
heard.
then the Cuban music, everything's would you agree with me, Jim?
I saw it. I see it. It's.
I know you'll need to be
man.
careful because Wendy will kick your ass.
Yeah. Just pleasant thoughts of all the things that I've seen in Cuba. The Coca-Cabana it's world famous.
yeah.
The Coca-Cabana in downtown Havana. We went there as a group, and I'm going, why are we
Really?
why are we taking 22-year-old guys there? They're going to go crazy. seeing all the- I mean, all the dancers had these exotic these things.
Beautiful women.
I want
Uniform,
all
yeah,
uniforms,
yeah.
more like swimsuits with leathers and all. Incredible for a young puppy. It was.
You see, that's something. I'm Cuban. I never got to see that because the
What a beautiful place. I mean, they had in the trees, it was like a jungle that they made with rafters. The dancers were up in the sky and tables all over. Definitely mafia oriented. Let me tell you, a lot of money was
a
there.
lot of money.
But one of the things that I saw over there was that we were eating like tourists, like eating at no cost, very, very little cost. And people right outside the window of the hotel were looking in the garbage cans for food. You
Yeah.
go into like I won't say a 7-Eleven, but a store that sold like pretty much everything. The shelves had like maybe one loaf of bread, 2 cans of beans. Everything was just empty. And I had a hard time understanding, wait a second, we're eating till we can't eat anymore. And the people are outside the street aren't eating at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to understand.
But you still ate.
I still eat. Yeah. I still eat.
No, but that is people don't know that. They don't understand.
They don't get that here.
don't get
They don't get communism. They don't get social. They don't understand these
Don't understand.
these young kids, Ralph, that are sitting here begging for socialism and communism. I'm like, you guys are idiots. Go live there.
Live there.
Go to Dominican Republic and don't be around the palace where the rich
Right.
stay.
Right.
Go to regular Dominican Republic and see these guys on literally mopeds. And I wondered why they got 5 people on a moped. And then I saw the gas prices were about $11 a gallon.
Yeah. And you walk by the apartments. When we took a walk in the village where not everybody went and the door was not, mosquitoes would get in, there would be cracks in the door, pieces of
Yep.
wood missing. It was low housing.
Yeah.
Incredible.
All right, so take us into the talk
So we
baseball now.
We went, we played there for 1 month. Like I told you, we were practicing in the morning, played a game in the afternoon, and then we'd have classroom work at night. So they would teach us all the ways, all these various techniques of things that they would do.
Who would teach you?
What's one?
Who would teach you?
The national team coaches of Cuba.
Well, that's what I'm saying because you didn't say that. I think it's important that people know that.
The coaches, the Cuban
You,
coaches
the
would
Italians, the Italian committee or whatever paid. Talk
pay
about
the
that.
Cuban national team, the Federation of Cuban Baseball. We paid them to teach us morning, noon, and night. They watch our game. They give us a team. We played against a lot of these kids that are playing in the big leagues. Mesa, the guy that's the center fielder for the Marlins. His dad was one of the guys we played against back when I was over there from 81 to 85. And got to see some incredible places in Cuba. We drove on these Wawas, these buses, school buses, and would go for 3-4 hours and see nothing but jungle. And then we would see these cities, like little cities. Holguin was one that sticks
Holguin.
out.
You know, just a side note on Holguin, the greatest performer, singer ever to come out of Cuba, one of them, anyway, female singer, is Celia Cruz. Was the greatest singer. She's from Holguin. Her story is a fascinating story. A young lady, very poor. And I say that because that she's the one who put this, it's a little village, it's a little town. She's the one who put them on the map.
You couldn't tell you were coming up, but as we were getting closer, driving for hours down this one road, one lane each way, in the middle of the jungle, we saw 4 high rises off to the distance, and we go, well, that must be a city. There were 4 high rise, probably about 15 stories high. In the middle of these 4 high rises, there was a 40,000 seat baseball stadium. We played a game against the team from Holguin, and the place was packed.
All right, tell us about this. This is a great story, guys. Listen to this story.
Just packed. And our president of Italian baseball wanted us to dress in these uniforms, these baseball uniforms with stars, green and red stars down the side. We had to walk out a certain way behind the mound and form a circle to a music. It was, I mean, those are the things that I couldn't stand, but we had to do it because that's what he wanted. So that's what we did.
You're getting paid what?
Getting paid.
You're getting paid.
Getting paid, man. Yeah. Dance, man. Dance.
What the hell?
We went all over the country, Santo Spirito, Guantanamo, all these towns, and played against the selection of players. Every team was good. We went 3 years without winning a game.
Wow.
This young group didn't win a game. Probably played about 20 to 22 games every visit, every year.
And didn't win a game.
Didn't win a game. Our first game we win on, because it sticks in my mind, on a broken metal bat single.
A metal bat broke.
Broken
Oh, yeah,
bat
they do.
single, 1-0. And that's the first game we won in 3 years. But it was just the experience of it, because we were young kids, right? And I was a young manager too. This is 1983 or 4. And
34, 35 years old.
we're facing this one guy who ended up playing in the big leagues, pitched for the White Sox, big Cuban guy, about 6'5", about 280. He was a reliever in the United States for the White Sox. I forget his name. But this game that we're playing, we had already won one game, and this guy was pitching against us. And one of our really small guys, pitcher, he also played the outfield. He got up in a key spot in the game, and it took him a while, to get the signs and everything. And he was taking too much time, and this pitcher was getting mad. Come on, kid, get in there, as like his motions were. And the kid stopped him and said, wait, I'll get in when I'm ready. Well, the first pitch, he hits him on, you can tell he hit him on purpose. This kid weighed probably 130 pounds, 140 pounds. He goes after the 6'5", 280 Cuban pitcher. And I'm telling you, if I had to tell you a moment when we became men, it was that game right there, because the whole group went after this guy. They had to get us apart because they had stepped on us too much, and we became of age. Right. And that was a very good sign for us, because after those 5 years of going there for a month each time, we ended up finishing my career as the Italian team coach was in the 1986 World Championships. Instead of World Champions, now they have the World Baseball Classic, because all the countries can participate in the World Championships. But the World Classic, they only want major leaguers or your best team. So that's why they changed it. Well, the last World Championships is being held in Havana, Cuba. And we walk in, we're 16 countries playing in this tournament throughout the whole country of Cuba. But we're all there, 16 teams walking in single file, 60,000 people in downtown stadium. It's packed to the gills. The first game is going to be 14 teams leave the stadium. Italy in right field, we start to warm up. Cuba goes to the right field. It's like, again, just throwing us to the wolves. We got no chance to win this game. There's really no chance. This same team I got for 5 years, we went and played against the Cubans and got beat up.
David
They
and Goliath,
stepped on us. They did things that were not ethical. The game, and they did things there that you wouldn't normally do. In front of not this particular game, but they took a phantom infield. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's a spectacle. I would pay money. I would pay for you to go to a game and watch them take a phantom infield.
Tell us about that, because I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming that's the one with no ball.
No ball.
Right. But they go through the motions.
They go through the motion of taking an infield. Outfielders throwing to the plate, but there's no ball.
There's no ball.
When the coach at home plate fakes throwing a ball up and hits it, a guy would hit the bat, two bats together, make it sound like a ball was hitting to the bat. The outfielder would go look at the ball, get it, and throw it.
How would they know where the ball was hit?
Because it rotated.
Oh, it rotated, okay.
You know, you take infield long enough, you know when it's coming. And they did that for like 15 minutes of an infield without a ball.
That's
and the
insane.
things they did is truly, truly amazing.
That's
all I
insane.
can tell you. One of the greatest things I've ever seen in terms of a fan. You hear people taking a fandom infield, and most people don't even know what it is.
I didn't know what it was, and I'm a huge baseball
But
fan.
it's really a show. It's a show.
It's to teach them positioning, basically, on
I
every,
think it's just more or less just
or to
people
show up
pumped
people. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a show.
Psychological warfare.
Oh, definitely.
So we're starting this game in the 1986 World Championships, Italy against Cuba. And at a certain point, we're getting close to game time. I see the Cuban team that was in left field warming up. They go to their dugout, the third base dugout, and then they come out of the dugout and they go behind home plate, and they're literally jumping onto the backstop. And we're in right field, we're warming up, and I'm trying to figure out what the hell are these guys doing there. We're gonna play him in like 5 minutes. They're jumping up like they're giving out $1,000 bills or something. So we go down, the Italian team go down, and I see that Fidel Castro, Willie Brandt, all the big shots had come into the stadium. They got their seat behind home plate, and they were honoring Fidel's presence at the stadium.
Boy.
The place went in an uproar. So I'm the manager of the team. I'm supposed to give the Italian flag to the coach from Cuba at home plate when we exchanged the lineup cards. So I decided, let's go. We're going to give the Italian flag to Fidel. So as we're walking,
You decided that.
yeah, I decided that just at the moment. I mean, they honored him. So we'll
What
honor
the
him
hell,
too.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
So as we're passing our first base dugout, and there's like a pathway from home plate to the dugout. There's 3 guys with machine guns, and I got the Italian team
Lord.
on the field. These guys got machine guns on the field, and here comes my 25 players and me, and they go, "You can't go by here." And at that moment, Fidel, he goes like this. He's waving his hand like, let him come over there. So the Italian team and me go to home plate. We didn't jump on the backstop. And I gave him the Italian flag, and I told him in Italian.
You gave the Italian flag to whom?
I gave it
Castro.
to
To Fidel.
Fidel Castro. I give him the flag through the fence, and I tell him in Italian, I only hope we can play you a good game tonight. And he says, muchas gracias, muchas gracias.
You think he understood what you said?
Huh? I mean, there was so much going on, and the place, Ralph, there's 60,000 people at the
That's
stadium. They're going
insane.
crazy. They're going to witness like the old days in the Coliseum where lions would eat you up, because that's what it felt like. We had really, literally no chance.
Sitting there
So we
looking
go
at Fidel with the thumb.
Yeah,
He's
just
like,
something like that.
"Bury
It's
him."
time to go. Shoot him. Hit the button. This team, the Olympic team in '84. These guys were on par with that. They had some incredible players. Munoz who's the Babe Ruth of Cuban baseball.
Mini
Rodriguez.
Munoz. Oh, he was like.
Oh, he's a god over there.
Well, he played in the big leagues at the age of 40 something.
Did he? I didn't know
Almost. I think he was 50. Rick.
Was that Munoz or Minimosa you're talking about?
No.
Munoz.
Mini Munoz. He played for the Chicago White Sox. I think it was late 40s, early 50s. You know,
Wow.
at his age.
I
Right.
don't know that.
I'm not sure if it was a political
But
thing,
he was a
but
prototype.
he was great.
Left-handed hitter, and he would power, and he was the god. He was the god. He was. the
He played there.
captain.
He
He played in that game. He played in
that game.
Vinen was the starting pitcher. Vinen, and he was also like the Roger Clemens of the Cuban team. They were good at every position. It was a treat. to see them play.
Well, that's their national sport. I mean, they
Oh,
live
yeah.
and breathe,
Yeah.
just like in Brazil and these other countries, it's soccer.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And here it's football, right? Here it's football, I guess, right?
I guess it's now football. Yeah.
Probably
Yeah.
football.
I mean, Cuba back then, especially in the Olympics, it was Cuba versus U.S. and boxing, especially,
Yeah.
was that time frame. It was, Cuba's sports were boxing and baseball back then.
Yeah.
I agree.
Baseball and boxing was their even track. There were some track
Yeah.
and field runners that were pretty good.
Yeah.
So we pass the flag to Fidel. Only we hope to play a good game. When we go out, we're getting ready. Believe it or not, we played our best game of our life.
Shit.
What an incredible, intense game. I'm telling you, 60,000. I've never
Oh,
witnessed
that's huge.
60,000 people.
Not for
60,000,
baseball.
and
Cuban, they're all Cuban.
yeah,
There's
they're
no
all
American.
antagonists. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
There's no
yeah,
Italian.
yeah,
There's all Cuban.
screw that. Everybody wants to screw you up, right?
And it's
Hey,
2
Ralph,
to
his
1.
camera's off. His
Oh,
camera
my God,
moved.
that's okay. All right. There we go. Jimbo. Oh, crap.
Ralph got all excited.
Oh, my God. You know what? I swear, I can picture that.
So
I
can
can-
I.
I deal with Cubans every day. Cubans.
It's like Gladiator, the movie. He's right.
No, it's like Italians. They're very passionate people.
Right.
Cubans are like, right?
yeah.
I mean, they're like friendly.
They
I
get
can just
together.
imagine the atmosphere in that stadium.
It was incredible. Something to witness that I'll never forget, because we're 2-1. Italy's winning 2-1 in
Oh.
the 8th inning.
Oh boy.
And in the 8th inning, and I remember I'm looking at. There's nobody saying a word. Like they're actually thinking that Italy is going to beat Cuba.
Oh
There's-
boy.
This is like
Unheard of.
impossible, right? So I kind of like looking around the stadium, and I'm in glory. I mean, I'm like,
Right.
as a young coach, we're beating the best team in the world, amateurs. I look at a guy and we had eye contact, and he was like up behind the third base, about 15 rows up. And we looked at each other, right? Just before the inning was going to start, the top of the 8th. He looks at me, I look at him, and there's 60,000 other people, and he goes like this to me. And
I was just
immediately
gonna say.
I immediately turned and looked at the home plate. All right, let's get this going, man.
Yeah.
'Cause to hear that many people not say a word was a feat. And then I made my greatest coaching move, worst coaching move of all time.
It haunts you to this day.
It's a tense game. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and my pitcher who pitched the whole game, a young Italian kid who I still talk to today, solid guy. I remember saying one time that if I had a son, I want him to be like this kid. This kid was a solid kid, professional, could have been a professional player. He pitched the game, and I had to take him out because he says, Jim, I can't go anymore. I can't
Nothing
go.
left. Yeah.
And
Did he start the 9th inning, or this was
he started the whole game. I had a
no? But I'm saying he went out to start the 9th inning, or did you?
he did not
He
go
did
to
not.
start the 9th
Okay.
inning. And I being so many things going on in such a big moment, and we're going to win this game. We're winning this game, and I wasn't concentrating on the moves that I should have made, and thinking this is something you think back, because you got to, in baseball, you got to make a move. You don't have a lot of time to make the move. Like
Mhm.
it's 2-0. You're going to have them swing 2-0, or you're going to have them take. You got to give the sign like right away. I don't want you swinging, or I want you
Right.
swinging, and it's happened. Anyway, I had a guy in left field who was my closer, and I should have used that guy, but I opted to get an Italian kid who had time to warm up in the bullpen. I had him warmed up, and I put him in. And he was a young kid, and literally when he went on the mound to start the bottom of the 9th, you could almost see his knees shaking.
Yeah. That's a big moment. That's a
Oh,
big moment for a kid.
With 60,000.
See, I've never seen that. I've been to Michigan football, so I've seen it in football, 115,000, but 60,000 in base. That's a big stadium, man.
Pretty big.
That's
stadium.
a lot of people.
And there's nobody cheering for you. It's all
Right.
it's all one sided. You know what I'm saying?
He's
Because
already
if
got
you got
death
your
threats on
cheering
him for
section,
winning
this
right
was-
now. So yeah.
Good God.
And I'm telling you, he probably didn't throw 5 or 6 pitches in the whole inning. It was a single, triple, and the game was over.
Oh my God.
Just like that. Like, they didn't take any pitches. It was a triple. And then the noise went up other decibels.
Oh my, yeah.
And
I
then
couldn't
it
imagine.
It just steamrolled, and it was only 3 hitters, and they won the game 3-1, 3-2.
A walk off. Yeah.
And,
Wow.
and they interviewed me as if we won, and I'm so dejected. You know, I'm so, I don't know. I would have killed somebody, but at that point you got to realize, okay, you got to answer the questions, and you know,
Mm.
and I'm just like, I'm upset today. And this happened in 87.
Jim, it's the best managerial move you've ever made in your life because you walked out of there. If you would have beat Fidel, really,
It might have
in
been, yeah, it
front
might
of him,
You might not have made it
would
out of the
been
stadium
bad.
anyway. I mean,
Would have been bad.
right?
The only good thing was that we kept our promise. They were entertained because I mean, it was pretty boisterous. The people were going crazy even before the game started, and to hear them so quiet, were not literally. It was eerie.
Right.
Nobody was saying anything. It was truly something that.
So Jim, tell me a little bit about, you know, when you lost the way you lost, because one thing is to lose a game. Another one is, you know, just bang, 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 3 swings of the bat. And all of a sudden your entire game is down to, what was it you were thinking? You got your team together, I would imagine. You said to me, right, there's no locker room.
Yeah,
Where did you all meet?
We met on the bus afterwards.
Okay.
And I remember probably one of my better speeches in my lifetime in terms of trying to get them to be, you know, to accept the defeat that they just lost to probably the best tournament in the tournament. The United States was there, and it was Barry Bonds was on the U.S. team. And in that particular tournament, the final game was Italy, United States, with Barry Bonds on the USA team. After everybody played in the tournament, it came down to who were the best 2 teams of each division. It was Cuba. Against USA. And Barry Bonds was on the USA team.
And who won that game?
Huh?
Who won that game?
That game was won by Cuba.
Mm.
Pretty sure, to tell you the truth, because I was there. We had a coach from Miami-Dade coaching on the USA team.
Nice.
He gets around. He was the pitching coach for that team. Charlie Green, who's
Charlie Green. I remember Charlie.
93 years old right now, and he was on that coach that staff. He said that most people didn't like Barry much.
They're like, what are you doing, man? That's your wife. Like, man, where are you?
Where are you at? You're supposed
Stop
to be
playing in Ralph's basement. Come
All
on.
right, so let's take a quick break because Jim probably has to make a phone call or something. Let's take a quick break here from one of our sponsors, and I want to follow up on that bus
Conversation.
on that bus conversation that you had with your team, because that's so important when you're defeated like that. You know, you're right on the verge of victory, and it's snatched away from you. And these young kids, you know, when you're older, these pros, you know, they take it, but you know, for kids like that,
It's a tough moment.
yeah, it's a tough moment. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be back in just a minute.
You've got enough on your plate. Why go through the hassle of designing your own business cards, brochures, and other marketing materials online when InKey Productions can do it for you, free of charge? Plus, we'll beat any advertised price by at least 10%. Don't waste your precious time designing and ordering your marketing material. Let us do it for you. All you need to do is tell us what you're thinking, and we'll take care of it from there. No design fees, no hassle, and delivery straight to your door. So, let us handle your marketing materials. That's what we do, and we do it better than anyone else, and for less. Visit inkeyproductions.com or call 305-697-0662. That's inkeyproductions.com, 305-697-0662. And use your time to build your business, not your marketing material. InKey Productions, your one-stop, hassle-free personal printing and marketing professionals, where excellence is our only goal.
So Jim, you lost a heartbreaker in front of 60,000 people who wanted to behead you. Right?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you actually threw that game on purpose.
Right.
No, because you said, I'm not getting out of here alive if I win this shit.
He's like, I'm not
No
bringing in the
problem.
closer. Bring in the young kid, man. We got to live here, guys.
Yeah. You still,
I mean, looking back, it's easy. You know, there's so many moves you make during the course of a game,
course.
like you know, that can change the game. Just one move, one pitch. That's why it's such a great game.
Oh,
It's
it's
such,
the best game in
there's
the
so
world.
much failure. I think that's why baseball is such one of the great games, because you fail so much. There's guys making millions, getting 3 out of 10, hitting 3 out of 10.
That's such a
3
great
out of
point.
10? No, they
man.
make millions now hitting. You hit 240, 250, and you get these multi-million. What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Hey, if you're Aaron Judge, you can hit like 220, but as long as you hit 50 long ones, nobody cares.
That's sort of true, ain't it?
That's true. That's true.
What a game.
So anyway, let me take you to the bus. You get your team together after that loss.
We got on the bus because there was no facility to get away. I mean, everybody in the stadium stayed there. It was like the game was continuing. We got out, and you know, talking to them, and you know, throwing it from the heart. We had been there 5 years early. We learned from them. They did not expect anything similar to what we did out there. We had the game in our hands. We could have won it. And, you know, that's why the game is not over until it's over. You know, Yogi Berra, I think that was one of the Yogi Berra's things, but.
Well, he said 90% of the game is half mental. He had some of the greatest sayings.
He's got
he
the
was
best
interviewed-
quotes.
In his early career, he was interviewed by a newspaper reporter after a game where he said, Yogi, this was the day after the game. He says, Yogi, I saw that in the game, in your box score. Remember the box scores used to come out in the newspaper? The box score says you went 2 for 3. But actually, and Yogi says, no. I went 3 for 3. He said, what happened with that third hit? He says, well, the omission of the third one must have been typographical error. You know, he came up with some shit that was, you know, and the guy says, the guy said that it must have been typographical error. And he said, hell no, it was a clean single to left. He was great. Wasn't he great?
Great guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you talk about catchers, see, that's something else.
He was another catcher manager. That was.
I'm just going to ask you a quick question. You guys are catchers, right?
Good.
What's the greatest catcher of all time? If you had to pick one, and I know we want to do a series on this, but I'm going to ask Jim first. Who do you consider to be, if you had to pick one catcher to start a team with?
One catcher to start a team out of
Oof.
all the ones I've seen.
All time. No, all time.
I would probably go with Johnny Bench.
You go with Johnny. How about you?
See, just because I got to see him on my favorite team, I love Pudge Rodriguez was my favorite. I mean, defensively and offensively, had a complete game.
I just heard a story just a couple of days ago about one of my buddies up in Ohio, in Russia, Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Craig Stammen, who pitched for the San Diego Padres, was pitching, and he was pitching to Pudge Rodriguez,
Mm-hmm.
and he shook off Pudge Rodriguez.
Uh-oh.
And he was telling the story to my buddy who we played together, and he goes, he threw a ball back to him harder than the pitcher threw it to Pudge. And he almost didn't catch it because he wasn't expecting the ball to come back that fast. But the message was sent.
Don't you dare.
Like, you don't cross me up.
Yeah.
But he didn't never said it.
Right.
He just threw a 100-mile-an-hour ball back to the pitcher. And the message was instantaneous.
Ralph, that's the Bull Durham, Ralph. You should.
That's
Oh,
a great
I want to throw the heat. Okay, go ahead, meat. And he's like, fastball. Guy hits it out. And he goes, I
See, you
give
guys
you a
never asked me
gift
who
and
my
you
favorite
show up my
catcher is of all
pitcher.
time. Who
What's
would I
that?
pick? Because you guys don't give a shit.
No,
you
yours
don't
is
give a
gonna be
shit.
a Yankee. I promise that.
No, it's not a Yankee.
Oh,
I would say Yogi
okay.
Berra, but
You would say Yogi Berra?
no, I wouldn't.
Who would
He
you
would
say?
be. I would say Yadier Molina.
Oh yeah, today,
Molina from the St.
yeah,
Louis Cardinals.
Molina.
That guy has a rifle for an arm.
he does.
Nobody wants to run on this guy. And
Nope.
that to me, see, I don't care so much about how a catcher hits.
The guy from the Cardinals?
The guy from
Yeah.
It's so much what he does behind the plate. That
No,
to
I
me is the
agree with
mark of a
that.
catcher.
Well, and a lot of managers and ownership agrees with you because you can be a big time catcher hitting 210 every year.
Absolutely.
They don't care. They really don't care.
The way he frames pitches.
Yep.
And he's got a rifle. You've never looked at his statistics?
You want to hear a good story about Molina?
I always want to hear good stories.
Molina signs with Miami-Dade College.
I didn't know that.
Jim Mansilla had to go to the airport in Fort Lauderdale to pick him up. I don't speak Spanish. He only spoke Spanish. I pick him up, and I drive from Fort Lauderdale to Kendall to put him in his apartment. We didn't say much. We're trying to, hey, you're going to be happy here. You're going to like it. He had signed with us only because at midnight that night is when he had to decide either accept the offer or play college ball.
He was offered
money by the Cardinals, or no, was it the Cardinals that he signed with? I'm not sure what team it was, but he had a decision to make at midnight. And obviously his agent was the one that made the decision. He went with it because the next day when I went to practice and I go, hey, where's Molina at? I picked him up. He was a friend of mine now because we're
buddies. We didn't say a damn thing for an hour and a half. We're buddies.
Lauderdale, we said like 15 words. Didn't know what they were. And I go, where is he at? He goes, he signed. He left. He didn't go to class. He signed a big contract. I guess it was with the Cardinals, but he had signed with Miami-Dade.
Wow.
See, I look at it a different way, guys. He didn't sign after spending an hour and a half in the car with you. He said, I'm signing. I'm getting the hell out of here.
Yeah.
Only a half hour.
But listen, we let me go back before we finish this up. You haven't told me about the bus. What you said to these kids, how they took it.
To tell you the truth, it wasn't very long because I'm a coach, and then when it's time to unwind and let it out, I was trying to be cool, but I was upset. It was like,
did you take the fall? Did you take responsibility?
Yeah, it was my fault.
Well, yeah, I mean, it should happen.
It was no question. And to this day, it bothers me when I think about it.
Really?
Yeah, because you only get one shot at whatever moment you have. If I would have won a game against Cuba, because Italy has never beat Cuba ever in a tournament, because they've never been beat hardly by many teams. The United States beats them, Puerto Rico once in a while, but they don't lose that much. And that game was there. If I'm in that spot now, I think I win that game if I make the right moves.
Right.
But those are things you coulda, woulda, shoulda. It doesn't work like that, man.
Yep.
You get one shot, and you got to take advantage of the shot. And it was a great moment to be there. I know telling them that we had learned from them, and they were not expecting that.
What did you learn from that yourself as a person, as a coach? What did you learn
from that
moment? From that experience? If you had to say one,
I was so sad for them because this was a 5-year project putting together, and we worked so hard to get to that moment. But being involved, I know that they scheduled us because they know us, they knew how we played, and they weren't afraid of us. They knew that they were going to win. It's like a bye week. They want to play against a team that they know. It's opening day.
You think they were lackadaisical?
Might have been a little lackadaisical. They didn't expect us or the guys, us playing that game like that. But so it was a life lesson to learn that, it's got to go right to the end. It was there in our hands. And I can't remember if I told them that I let it slip through or whatever happened, but we collectively lost, but it's just the start. We were so close. That's why the game is a good game, because people can't deal with failure. A lot of people, when they experience failure, they tend to go the other way. And that's where you need coaching to say, listen, it's going to happen. Just think that what it would be like if you were on the other side of the fence, but you got to earn that because you played the best in the world. So it's a lesson that I'm sure that most of them, I would like to hear what they have to say after 50 years about what they've learned about it, because you learn things.
Have you kept in touch with any of them?
Huh?
Have you kept in touch with any of them?
Oh yeah. No, in fact, I told you I'm bringing players over to go play in college here, and I lean on them to tell me, can they play? And they know what I mean when I say, can they play? Because here it's very competitive. College coaches don't give out scholarships. In fact, at Michigan, what, they get like 7 or 8 scholarships a year, and they got
if that, yep. That's a great point, Jim. A lot of parents had no idea, by the way. When you're at these camps, you should have seen their faces when he's like, unless you're a 95-mile-an-hour left-handed pitcher, and I'm not kidding, he used these terms, Ralph, a Cuban shortstop or a center fielder that we really need. He goes, you're not looking at full rides. We don't get football money like that. It's not how it works. And I was going to go back, Jim, because what people don't understand is why I think Miami-Dade's so huge and so good, and why JUCOs excel at baseball is because a lot of these kids, the Piazza story is perfect story, because you want to go D1 because you're taught your whole life that D1's the epitome, right?
Right.
If you're D1, you're the best. Well, here's the problem. Like I told Jim off air, if you're a D1 star coming out of high school, guess what? There's also another 20 that are already seniors, juniors above you. So your question becomes, and I'm going to have to go through this with Bryce, do you want to play right away, or do you want to sit for 2 years and not be seen? And that's the question. And there's more money in JUCOs for scholarships and grants.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They have 2 seasons. We play, well, because we're in Florida, we play from September to Christmas.
Right.
Where we figure out who can play and who can't play. And in January, we're starting right now, like in January 19th, with today's the 20th, they're starting their season today.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's crazy to me too, because, and that's what made Michigan making the finals and losing to Vanderbilt a couple years ago so impressive, because the Southern and West Coast teams are the ones that win the College World Series. It's just they play year round, and we don't. Right. I mean, period. I mean, we play indoor facilities when it comes winter time. That's not even close to the same. I don't care what anybody tells you. You hitting indoor. What's that?
Let me ask you that, because you're going to be there, because you got a kid that's 15, and he's going to experience something that we're just talking about right now. There's advantages and disadvantages to both. And I asked Ralph off air if Bryce was a good student, and he was saying, oh yeah, he's a real good student. So more than likely the wife is going to say, I want him to go to a Division I. Right. Because I want him to graduate, and I want him to become whatever he's going to become. And baseball is like secondary.
She defers to me on that. But I'll tell you the grand scheme of it, Jim, and I know where you were going with that, is 2 years at a JUCO, and then you get noticed by a D1 and finish out there. And that's how you should do it.
And he can play. He's going to play, because there aren't many people sitting the bench that are 6'5" that can throw, that have command of 3 pitches.
Right.
So there's a good chance that he's going to play, and he's going to mature in his body. He's going to be good in classes. Going to be taking the core classes. And then he's going to be able to pick his 4-year school with the scholarship. It's almost guaranteed.
You got
2
it.
years at a junior college, he's going to either sign professionally, or he's going to go to a nice Division I and play, because they know what they need. If they're going to recruit a first baseman and he's a first baseman, they're coming to us, knocking on the door. We want that kid.
You got it. Done. You got it. I actually, when you were talking about that tournament that you run, I was thinking, man, that'd be perfect for Bryce to come down there and play in that, because we almost played for a team that Coastal Carolina was going to be our spot as far as tournament. They hosted it at US Elite and all that, and then we just found out that it wasn't what we thought it was, and then we just stayed with Ohio Elite and went on to a different program. But yeah, I mean, I that tournament you talked about, I was like, man, you're just speaking his language right now. I'd love for him to be seen down there.
That's why these East Cobb tournaments, all these tournaments that are that they play, where all the Division I schools go to, and they're looking for those guys that aren't committed to anybody, and they'll offer your scholarship right there on the scene. It's
That's awesome. Yeah.
So listen, guys, we need to follow this up. There's a lot of I would love to do an episode with you guys about teens and sports.
Yeah.
I'm available. I mean, this is really to get people to understand that, you make moves, you have to live with them. And sometimes it's a guess as to what you do or don't do and pursue. It's a feel, how you feel with the person who's making an offer to you. And again, picking the college is also another situation where why Michigan?
Right.
Dad likes it. It's a good school.
Right.
But am I going to play?
There's
so many things that come in that kids don't realize, and to hear it, because everybody goes through it. I'm a
Mhm.
coach, and when Matt was trying to pick a school, it was the hardest thing. It wasn't easy for me because I'm in the game and I was trying to find the best spot for my kid. It
Right.
was just as difficult as it is for any parent out there. And you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
Love
would
that.
love to
Jim.
start the conversation where we do this. Kids when they're young, very young. I'm talking about little league, because I had my experiences with my son, Donovan, who was when he was in little league, started little league. He was a fantastic ball. My son was good at Donovan. My son's name is Donovan.
Mhm.
He was good at anything he tried. He was just one of those gifted kids
Yep.
in anything. He's a world class artist.
Sure, he is. I saw.
No, his stuff is just unbelievable. Ask Kyle.
Oh, he doesn't even work for Disney?
Yeah, he worked for Disney for a while and he left now. But the point is this: kids when they're young, what I found is that parents want to live their dreams through their kids.
Yeah.
That's where I was going to go with that. I love that, Jim. It's tough because when you played, you want to be all over him. And
Yeah.
finally I learned this. I was like, I got to back. This is his call. This isn't my
He's got to
dream.
enjoy himself.
This is
Rick.
his dream. This isn't my dream.
Yeah.
Yep.
Unfortunately, very few people think like you, and
Yeah.
has devastating effects. I think we should do an episode on that. I think a lot of parents can learn.
Well, have the kids have the have
Love to
Yeah,
have the
no,
kids
that's
on.
why I would love for Bryce and your grandson to come on, because I want to hear from them, because the best thing I ever heard from Coach Bakich was too many of these kids are getting specialized, meaning they're pulling out of all the sports except for one. And I'll tell you from experience, I burned out on baseball. I did. By the time I got to college, I was like, dude, I am so over baseball. Like Jim said about the hundreds of people trying out, I had a PWO, preferred walk on at Wright State, and I backed the hell out of it because I was burned out. I was like, I want a college experience now. I want to party a little bit.
yeah.
And I'm honest with Bryce about that. But Bakich said, stop doing it. He goes, let these kids play all the sports they want to play. It uses different parts of your body, and they don't come to us burned out because you're in something different every season, which I played all three in high school, just like Bryce. So I keep pushing that to him. I'm like, dude, yeah, there'll be showcases. There'll be this, there'll be that. They'll find you. Trust
They're
me.
gonna find it.
They're going to find you. They're going to hear about you. They'll come looking.
Yep.
So,
Guys, listen,
yeah,
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Jim, we hope Jim will be a regular on our show. There's so many great
Absolutely.
stories and life lessons to be learned, because this is really what it's all about.
Yeah. That's
Baseball, just like in any sport, right, Jim? It's
failure. People can't deal with it.
they can't deal with
Yep.
it. Yeah, and it's a shame. Some of these kids, and there's how many kids must there be that's so talented and they never pursue it?
yep.
It's like what Rick was saying, that they don't pursue it because just the undue pressure. There's enough pressure
Exactly.
in the world of sports. You got that crap from your parents, and come on.
Yeah.
Kids
One
got
of
to
the things that of having two kids and having them both be D1 athletes, both my kids realize that competition is something that makes you stronger. They've said it, they've appreciated it, because they feel that they are so much more in tune with the workforce because of,
Boom.
you want this job. Well,
Boom.
guess what? There's 20 other people who want the same job.
Boom.
So
Ralph,
how
we
bad do
talked
you want
about
this
that.
job? You
Yep.
got to go get that job.
You got it.
And learning through sports and athletic and the failure that comes with it, I think you're more in tune to deal with those life lessons. And I would sell that to kids. Don't be afraid. Just go knock on a door or another door if it doesn't
Yep.
work out, because somebody's going to open. But you got to be ready. You got to be ready.
Yeah, and those are things you can share because of your experience. You need to share that with kids. If you can change one life, one kid, you've done your job, buddy. So
Yep.
it's an amazing thing. God puts us through experiences in life so we can share those experiences with other people and make a difference in their life.
Mhm.
I truly believe that. The problem is that kids now, the Bible says, I'm a Christian, right? And I'm proud of it. The Bible says there are two kinds of people. There are wise people, wise men, and fools.
Mhm.
And the difference is, that wise men learn from the experience of others. The fools learn from their own experience. This is why us, when we get to our age, we try to share with kids, and they don't listen.
Yeah.
They're fools. That's why they got to go and they got to, So your job is to, hey, listen, here's the information. you know, here it is. If you want
Well,
to.
that's what's so fulfilling about the job that I had, is that for years we would have literally 50 people trying to make our 25-man roster, and dealing with the kids and telling them, listen, I'm telling you can't play baseball. I'm not telling you can't play baseball. I'm telling you can't play baseball here at Miami-Dade,
Mm-hmm.
and tell them some of the things and help them get to other places. And because of our reputation in baseball, people would wait for us to cut people. And we literally had teams that would give scholarships to the guys that we cut at
Mm-hmm.
Miami-Dade. That's why I believe it's a program that's a lot different than most, because when you get cut, you're pretty much done. Here, you got to go figure it out. We go the extra route because we got people that will take you with aid even though you've been cut at Miami-Dade.
That's how good your program is.
That's how I think
Yeah.
how good the program is.
Wow, that's an amazing thing. Another amazing thing is I think about all these athletes. I know myself, being involved in the world of sports for many years, having had the first and only sporting goods stores in Miami for years, and I keep hitting this camera. I'm Cuban, and this is what I do, right?
Get excited, man. You get the
No,
big one.
yeah.
You
My
just-
wife says, "Listen, you
Just
gotta
trying to
settle
show your
down."
guitars off over there. All right.
There's a lot of good ways you can get people.
Yeah, but the thing that I don't understand is, you know, we depend on sports too much. I think parents put too much pressure on sports on their kids rather than concentrate on life. Because, you know, sports, what's the average lifespan or career of, I got that written down somewhere. I looked that up. I think the average major league career is like 3.7 years,
Yeah.
something like that, right? So what does a kid
Yeah.
do after, let's say he plays professional
Yeah.
baseball?
The money generally is not going to match, you know,
No.
the
Then what do you
3
do
years.
after that? You see?
What do you do after?
Better have a degree, better have something to fall back on. I told him, make sure you have that degree. I mean, you know, look at your grandfather for as far as an idol, as far as business world and where you want to be after this dream. I said, I'm not going to tell you you're not going to play Major League Ball, Bryce, because I truly believe you're going to make it. But if it doesn't happen, where's your plan B? But I want that plan A like Jim's, as in he's not going to fail. And I want him to think that way.
Of course.
So
It's a fine line. It's a fine
yeah,
line.
it is. And I know it's less than 1% of all little leaguers ever make it to the bigs. And I'm a realist and he's a realist, but the work he puts in and what I've seen, you know, in the last 7-8 years from what he's done and what he keeps getting looked at every tournament, every all-star, every, you know, dressing varsity, pissing down his leg on game 1 because they put a 14-year-old out there, Jim, on opening day as varsity level. And he went against one of my buddies' high schools, Westerville Central, who had 14 upperclassmen on that team. So I said, son, if you don't work ahead and you hang some 2-0s, these grown men going to hit you and they're going to hit you far. And he did. I mean, he pitched well, got out of the first with no runs, and then walked the base. I said, walks will kill you, man.
Yeah.
So walks the bases loaded and gives up a double, and he's pulled. But he goes,
coaching
that's
comes
exactly
into
right.
After.
And he
is-
told me, Jim, he goes, Dad, that's the first time I've ever shook on the mound. I said, good. He goes, I want the ball next time we play him. I said, bingo.
There it is.
You know, all you can do is learn from it, get the nerves out and go next time.
That's right.
Okay, guys, so it's been great. And this is only the first. There's so many subjects we can talk about all related
Oh,
to
yeah.
life and sports and stuff like that. Just remember, Jimbo, you know, you asked me the other day, we were going over some of these stories by phone and you said to me, am I boring you? You remember that? You asked me that?
No.
No, you asked me that. You said to me, after you were telling me some stories, you asked me, am I boring you? And I said, Jimbo, I could listen to this all day because I understand, man, the experiences that you've been through, what God has put in your path and what he's done.
It has been amazing. I mean,
It's an amazing life.
I know that it's been fulfilling for me because the game, I learned the game. I latched onto it because of not having, you know, the support at home. My mom was working. I didn't have the dad. And you grab onto something and I took it. It's tough to stay in the game and get paid, you know, as a profession. And a lot of people get let go, you know, for so many different reasons.
Yeah.
To be a full-time coach at a college or university is really Shangri-La. And
Yeah.
the things that happen in Italy is just an incredible. It's been a great life. I have no regrets because I've seen people, you know, get all the lessons that come with it. And, you know, it doesn't happen particular day. Things, you listen to something somebody says and it stays with you and it changes your life. You hear experiences, and it's a great thing being around young people. It's one of the reasons why I don't think I'm going to retire, because you
Yeah.
can tell that you mean something to people, that you can help them with
Making a
experience.
difference.
Yeah, it's a great thing.
It's amazing because all these stories that you tell and all the stories that you still haven't told that you will tell. You know what's the one thing? And Rick, I'm going to ask you this question. What
Sure.
is, you know, the one thing that stands out of everything you said, those great stories, there's one thing that stands out in all those stories to me.
What's that? What would
It's
that
the
be?
letter that you wrote.
Letter.
That one letter that you wrote that you hadn't written the letter since, I don't think you've ever written a letter before that. You ever wrote a letter that you, I don't know where you were told, write this letter, and you wrote it, not knowing why, where, how,
Wow.
when, who, you didn't, you wrote that, and that letter changed your life forever. That
Blind
one
faith.
little thing.
I
Blind
think it's
faith.
unique. I think a lot of people get to that situation and they, you know, I'm sure they have their stories too,
Mhm.
you know, because it's just, you don't know where it's going to take you. No one's going to say, hey, if you go this way, this is going to happen. You got to figure it out. And it's
My dad once told me, did you ever met my father? You
know,
don't
I don't
remember, he
believe
died
I
in
have.
1979.
Your dad died in 79?
79. He was 62 years old. My dad was an incredible person. And I'm not just saying that because he's my dad. Everybody in the family, you know, talk
No,
to,
I've heard him
they'll
speak.
tell you that he was just an incredible human being. And he was so wise, and he had a third grade education. And he was the wisest person I've ever met in my life. And he would say things to me that didn't make sense back then. And they made a hell of a lot of sense as I got older, right? Isn't that work that way? And he said to me once, he says, don't worry about doing the big thing. Do what seems to be the insignificant little things. Those are the things that you should do. Because when you do a bunch of insignificant little things, they will lead you to the big things, where everybody concentrates on the big things. And that's, and the story that you told about that letter just reinforces that.
Yeah.
You see, that we need to concentrate on it. God gives you an opportunity to look at that. Just changed your whole life. Rick,
Yeah.
you got something you want to say? I know you guys
Yeah,
have been
I
having
thought- I
tremendous
thought-
conversations, but you know, just
I thought the
before we
number
close-
one big thing that you would have taken out of this is the 24-hour buffet in the Olympic Village. I don't know why you would go with like a life lesson thing. Come on, dude.
Remember I told you in the movie thing, I'm a crier.
I'm talking
watch
about
movies and I
pigging out
cry.
at 2
I'm very
a.m. when I had
sentimental.
too many beers in the village, bro.
So,
It was, oh man.
Oh, honestly, this has been amazing. I love all of his stories. I mean, as a baseball guy, I'd kill for his life. That's just awesome. I mean, seriously, traveling the world I've got to do, but as far as in a baseball sense like that, man, to coach and live your dream basically, and to influence others. I mean, that's all you can ask for. As a dad, that's all I ask for, is to pass on my name to my son and make sure he has my dad's legacy in mind when he acts. And
Yeah.
the greatest compliments we've ever had on my son is after tournaments about what a leader he is and that he plays the game the right way. To hear that, I mean, I've done my job. I mean, I know I've done my job.
Yeah.
The last tournament he was in, when he subbed, you know, the head coach came to me and said, I haven't heard that many sirs since I was in the military. And I said, good. That's what I want to hear too. So
you're
that's
doing
all I
your
can
job.
do is
You
raise
do-
a
that's all you can do.
gentleman. Yep.
Beautiful thing, man.
yeah, man,
Beautiful
it
thing.
is. So listen, Jim, thank you very much. You're going to be regular, a regular in this thing. And
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I mean, if you want
I
to be.
like it.
And by the way, Rick, just so you know, Jim made a decision yesterday that, because I told him, I said, Jim, you got to write a book.
Oh, he
gotta write a
should.
book.
Absolutely.
And he decided to do that.
I
We're
would.
gonna be working on that because
I'd be all over that. Yeah.
let me tell you something, dude. You have no idea the power that you have
Mm-hmm.
to change someone's life. God has not put you through this incredible journey for you not to share it with people. So
Right.
This is simple.
I would pursue it because it's been on my mind. It's something that always, I don't tell people because, you never get into the situation to actually, I did this. Wendy at times says something
Right.
about the Olympic Games, but it's already, it's almost 50 years ago.
Mm.
Yeah.
Actually 35 years or 37 years ago. The Olympics, it seems like so long ago.
I know.
Right.
But when I talk about it like I did today, I mean, I get goosebumps of some, like seeing that
That's awesome.
Bulgarian. Those are the things that I got out of it, that this guy was there for business.
Yeah.
And I love that. When you got a job to do, nothing gets in your way. It's just a great lesson that you can just block everything out because you got something to do. And I think it's kind of easy, but you need to get that word out to people that when you work that hard, nothing can get in the way of what you're pursuing, and that's what I think young kids need to get.
What was that famous line, Rick? In
Clear the
Love of
mechanism.
Game?
Clear the mechanism.
Remember that? Did you ever see that movie?
Clear
For
the
Love of the Game?
mechanism.
No.
You haven't seen that?
He's got to see that one.
Kevin Costner,
Kevin Costner, Tigers
baseball
pitcher.
pitcher.
Yep.
The one at the Field of Dreams one?
No.
Yeah.
For the Love of
That's
the
who
Game.
it is.
The
Yeah.
Life of the Game. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. For the love of the game.
Love
Yep.
of the
You got to
Game, yeah.
watch that movie.
I did see
I'm telling you,
pieces
go
of
watch
it.
that movie.
Billy
There's one line in
Chapel.
that movie that makes the whole movie.
Well, you saw the real game there, the Yankees and the White Sox playing.
That
it.
was
Really good.
that was
I got
awesome.
my take on
Yeah.
that.
It was
I
a
think
hell of a
it's-
facility they made.
Yeah.
Okay, so listen, we need to wrap this up. I could
We do.
sit here and talk all night, man.
This is good
Guys,
stuff.
so, you
We
know,
need beers next time. Next
come
time we
back-
should just have beers on set and let's drink some beers and shoot the shit.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is awesome. Yeah.
You got that right.
Thank you for being part of it. I appreciate having me.
No, man,
Man,
it's our
Jim,
pleasure.
you've been awesome. Yeah.
I'm
So,
down
folks,
with the
you've been
beers.
listening to Rick. By the way, they call him Vanilla
Producer
Gorilla.
Kyle's down with the beers. I'll be doing shots behind the
Are
scenes.
you
And I'll come
back?
on and talk and be like, hey, Jimmy boy.
This is Kyle.
Yeah.
You know why he got back? He heard beers.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, he didn't give a crap.
Good
about
night.
anything
Good
else.
day.
By the way, we got like the Epcot Center World of Beers represented here because I'm Irish German. You got an Italian, a Cuban. Kyle, I don't even know what the hell you are.
German.
German.
Look at
So
this,
we got
United Nations.
natural born drinkers here. So it's on.
God. I've been trying to say, I've been trying to sign off now for like a half hour. So, you know what, Rick? You go ahead and sign off. I can't get this done. Good night.
Well, on behalf of myself and Ralph, again, Jim, it's been phenomenal, dude. I appreciate your stories, honestly, your life experiences, and honestly, this is life. I've told Ralph before that recruiters now in business look for sports people because they need that team environment guy and the guy that's willing to listen to orders, listen to commands, no different than the military. You got to listen to your coaches. You're going to listen to a boss. So I think it's the biggest thing for these kids to play sports coming up. I think life-wise, it couldn't be more relevant, to be honest with you. So again, behalf of Kyle, Ralph, myself, I appreciate you. And next episode, let's just keep it rolling. I love this. To be honest, I love it. Nothing like picking a brain of a catcher. You don't know what you're going to find, Ralph, but it's going to be intelligent.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
Yeah.
It's dark and dusty and damp in there. Cobwebs.
Smart man.
Hey, Jim, I think I've told you this before. I'm going to tell you again, I love you, man. I've always loved you. We always, in the family, Jim's family.
Yeah, it's a great family. It's a great
It
family.
is a great
I'm
family.
glad to be part of it.
Great family. But you need to get your story out there, and we're going to do that. We're going to do that. We're going to have
Get
a
it
lot of
done.
Thank you, Rick.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you, Kyle.
Have a good one,
Good
guys.
night, Kyle.
Talk to you later,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Signing off.
See.
We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Jim. We certainly did. And if you did, we kindly ask you to subscribe to our channel by clicking on the like button below and ringing that bell. As Jim's life revolves around baseball, your life revolves around the road you've chosen and what you enjoy. And what you've chosen, what you enjoy, and the lessons you've learned throughout your journey is what we and thousands of others would love to hear. But while we wait to hear your story, we welcome you to join us for our next episode, The Mike Essence Story. From being bullied at a young age to making one decision that changed the course of his life, Mike will share with you his journey culminating in the realization of his lifelong dreams. We hope you'll tune in by subscribing to Life, Sports, Music, and Beer. See you then.
On behalf of everyone from Life, Sports, Music, and Beer, we thank you for tuning in. If you've got that story to tell, comment below. Smash that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell so you can hear other amazing stories.